John Grierson was a pioneering Scottish documentary maker, often considered the father of British and Canadian documentary film. In 1962, Grierson coined the term documentary in a review of Robert Flaherty's Moana. He was born in Scotland on the 26th of April 1898 and died the 19th of February 1972 in Bath. Grierson worked for the GPO, which was the General Post Office, which was the predecessor of Royal Mail. The GPO was owned nationally around the 1930s and was delivered and owned by the state. GPO also contained a film unit called the GPO Film Unit, and which was often used to produce propaganda films, which were films used to market the country and national industries. The GPO Film Unit was headed up by John Grierson, and the GPO Film Unit made mostly documentaries to show off the work of the General Post Office. A lot of these documentaries were propaganda. As stated before, Grierson created the term documentary, and he also coined the phrase that documentary equals the creative treatment of actuality. It's argued that Grierson was influenced by Russians. He was a socialist, hence he was very influenced by the Russian filmmakers such as Eisenstein or Vertov. A lot of their documentaries were quite ideologically driven, a lot of it against the state of Russia. As stated, a lot of the documentaries were ideologically based. A lot of them were ideology based on his views, political views. There was an emphasis on how important the workers are, an emphasis on how important the working people in the UK are. The documentaries equally place an emphasis on the importance of the nation pulling together, facing the growing influence of fascism. Grierson saying that by showing the whole country, he's emphasising how great the nation is. Obviously, hence through Grierson portraying the country as very great, it was very patriotic. A lot of his propaganda films for the GPO kind of suggested how great the British nation was because ordinary people were working together to achieve their goals. A lot of the propaganda films had a feel of patriotism and national pride. Grierson also uses reconstruction, so it's arguable that some of his documentaries weren't actually reflecting some forms of actuality. Some of his documentaries weren't actually reflecting some forms of actuality. Some of the scenes in his documentary Night Mail were too difficult to film on an actual train. So he brought workers down to London to a mock studio where they shot mock shots of a train or a fake train. And this quite reflected Robert Flaherty type of documentary making, where the documentary itself wasn't necessarily reflecting reality or actuality.